Hey guys, it's Willmark 1974 here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a culinary mystery that's got me totally shook. We're talking about foods that were once considered, let's say, humble staples on prison plates, and how they've somehow managed to claw their way onto the menus of some of the fanciest restaurants in the world. I know what you're thinking. Prison food? Gourmet? Willmark, have you completely lost it? And honestly, maybe I have, but trust me on this one. We're about to unravel a culinary conspiracy that'll leave your taste buds begging for more. Get ready for shocking transformations, unbelievable historical deep dives, and maybe, just maybe, a newfound appreciation for the resilience of good taste, even in the most unlikely of places. So buckle up, grab a snack, hopefully not from a prison kitchen, and let's get into it. Alright, let's kick things off with a real head-scratcher, lobster. Today, it's practically synonymous with luxury. You've got your white tablecloths, your fancy butter sauces, the works. But rewind a couple of centuries, and this crustacean was about as far from glamorous as you could get. We're talking 1700s America, folks. Lobster was so abundant on the East Coast that it was practically considered a nuisance. Like, imagine stepping over piles of lobster on your way to work. That's how plentiful these things were, and guess who got stuck eating them? Yep, prisoners. Prisoners back then often had to endure gruel-like meals, and lobster, being readily available and cheap, was a go-to ingredient. Can you imagine the irony? Being served lobster 3 times a week and dreading it? It just goes to show how much our perception of food can change. But hold on, because this crustacean story takes a wild turn. The lobster's journey from prison cells to Michelin star restaurants is a real testament to the power of marketing and, dare I say, good PR. Stay tuned. Alright folks, let's dive into the murky history of another seafood staple that's seen its fair share of ups and downs. The oyster. This unassuming bivalve has a story that's as rich and layered as its taste. Now picture this, you're living in 19th century London, a bustling metropolis with a bit of a, shall we say, fragrance. The streets are crowded, the air is thick, and the River Thames is the lifeblood of the city. Sanitation wasn't exactly a top priority, and the River Thames was basically an open sewer. The river was a dumping ground for all sorts of waste, making it a less than ideal source of food. But hey, even in the midst of all that, people needed to eat, right? Street vendors were everywhere, selling whatever they could get their hands on to the hungry masses, and guess what was readily available in those polluted waters? You guessed it, oysters. These bivalves thrived in the murky depths, making them an easy catch. Cheap, plentiful, and readily available, oysters became a staple food for the lower classes, including, you guessed it, those serving time. Prisons, always on the lookout for cost-effective food sources, turned to oysters. Prison kitchens, never known for their culinary creativity, served these bivalves up by the bucket load. They were a reliable, if not exactly glamorous, source of nutrition. Boiled, stewed, or even eaten raw oysters were a regular fixture on prison menus, a far cry from their modern-day reputation as an aphrodisiac delicacy. They were the ultimate in low-cost, high-protein sustenance. But just like our friend the lobster, the oyster's fate was about to take a dramatic turn. From the depths of the Thames to the heights of haute cuisine, the oyster's journey is nothing short of remarkable. Get ready, because we're about to uncover how this humble shellfish climbed its way out of the culinary gutter and into the hearts and stomachs of the elite. Stay tuned as we explore the oyster's rise to gastronomic glory. Alright folks, buckle up because we're diving into the world of tripe. Now I know what you're thinking, tripe, that stuff sounds like it belongs in a dungeon, not on my dinner plate. And you know what, you wouldn't be entirely wrong. Tripe, for those unfamiliar with this culinary curiosity, is a cow's stomach lining. Yeah, you heard that right, stomach lining. Historically, tripe was a cheap and plentiful source of protein, which made it a staple in prisons across the globe. It was the kind of food that stuck to your ribs, or at least that's what the wardens told the inmates. Imagine this. You're stuck in a cramped, dimly lit cell, the air thick with despair, and suddenly the aroma of boiled tripe wafts through the bars. Not exactly the most appetizing thought, is it? But hey, when you're in prison, you don't exactly have the luxury of being picky. Now let's be real. Tripe doesn't exactly have the most glamorous reputation. It's often associated with poverty and tough times, but believe it or not, this humble ingredient has undergone a culinary glow-up, transforming from prison slop into a delicacy. All right, gang, let's talk about Spam. No, not the unsolicited emails clogging up your inbox, but the iconic canned meat that's been both loved and loathed for generations. Spam, a portmanteau of spiced ham, was first introduced by Hormel Foods in 1937. It quickly gained popularity as a cheap and convenient source of protein during the Great Depression. And then came World War II, and Spam's popularity skyrocketed. Shipped overseas by the ton, Spam became a staple for soldiers fighting on the front lines. It was shelf-stable, easy to transport, and well, it was food. But let's be real, after weeks of eating nothing but Spam, soldiers probably dreamed of the day they could finally toss their cans in the trash. And you know where else Spam ended up? You guessed it. Prisons. It was cheap, it was plentiful, and it could be stored for ages without going bad. Section 2. Spam's Gourmet Evolution. All right, gang, today we're heading down south to explore the fascinating history of grits. This humble dish has a story that spans centuries and has evolved in ways you might not expect. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with this southern staple, grits are a type of porridge made from ground corn. They have been a part of southern cuisine for generations, often served as a hearty breakfast dish. And while grits are often associated with cozy breakfasts and comforting southern hospitality, they also have a long and storied history within the walls of prisons, particularly in the American South. This dual identity makes grits a fascinating subject to explore. Cheap, filling, and easy to prepare in large quantities, grits were a go-to for prison kitchens looking to stretch their budgets. They could be made with minimal ingredients and still provide the necessary sustenance for inmates. Served up plain or with a meager helping of gravy, grits were a far cry from the creamy, cheesy concoctions you might find on a brunch menu today. In prisons, they were more about survival than enjoyment, but for inmates struggling with limited options and even more limited freedom, grits provided a much-needed source of sustenance, a small comfort in an otherwise unforgiving environment. They were a staple that many relied on daily. Section 2. Grits' culinary redemption. Over time, grits began to shed their humble prison origins and found a new life in the culinary world. But here's the thing about grits, they're a blank canvas, just waiting for the right artist to come along and unlock their full potential. With the right ingredients and a bit of creativity, grits can be transformed into something truly special. And thankfully, that's exactly what happened. Chefs began to see the potential in grits and started experimenting with flavors and textures. Chefs, particularly those with a deep appreciation for southern cuisine, recognized the versatility and inherent deliciousness of this humble ingredient. They began to elevate grits to new culinary heights. No longer relegated to the sidelines, grits have taken center stage on menus across the country. They are now celebrated for their ability to absorb flavors and complement a wide range of dishes, from creamy shrimp and grits, a true southern classic, to more innovative takes on the dish, to cheesy baked grits with a crispy parmesan crust. The possibilities are endless. Grits have become a playground for chefs to showcase their creativity. Grits have gone from prison staple to culinary darling, a transformation that highlights the power of culinary innovation, proving that even the humblest of ingredients can be elevated to gourmet status with a little creativity and a whole lot of flavor. So next time you enjoy a bowl of grits, remember its journey from prison staple to southern comfort food. All right, folks, buckle up because we're diving into the fascinating world of pig's feet. Now, I know what you're thinking. Pig's feet? That's food. And you wouldn't be alone. Pig's feet were once a common sight on prison plates, seen as a cheap and plentiful source of protein. We're talking old-time prisons, the kind with flickering gas lights and maybe a phantom or two rattling the bars at night. Back then, using every part of the animal wasn't just frugal, it was a way of life. But here's the thing. Even though pig's feet might sound unappetizing to some, they can be incredibly delicious when prepared correctly. We're talking slow-cooked, fall-off-the-bone tenderness infused with savory spices and herbs. Trust me, it's a flavor journey you won't soon forget. And speaking of unforgettable, let's jump right into how this humble dish, once relegated to the shadows of prison kitchens, has stepped into the limelight of gourmet dining. It's a tale of culinary redemption, folks, and you won't believe the transformation. All right, let's talk ramen, the ultimate college dorm staple and late-night snack. But before you click away thinking this is about those 10-cent packets of instant noodles, hold on, we're going deeper than that. See, while those little squares of fried noodles might be a student's best friend, they've also become synonymous with budget-friendly prison meals. Inmates, resourceful as ever, have turned those flavor packets into culinary gold, creating elaborate recipes and flavor combinations that would make even a seasoned chef raise an eyebrow. But ramen's story goes far beyond the confines of prison walls. It has a rich and fascinating history, originating in Japan as a comforting and flavorful dish enjoyed by people from all walks of life. And trust me, the ramen you see in those stylish ramen bars popping up everywhere, it's a whole different beast. So, get ready to slurp up some knowledge as we uncover how ramen shed its humble beginnings and transformed into a global culinary phenomenon. It's a story of noodles, broth, and a whole lot of deliciousness. All right, folks, get ready to dig into a dish that's as hearty and flavorful as it is historically significant, oxtail. Now, I know what you're thinking, oxtail. That sounds a little intense, and you wouldn't be entirely wrong. Oxtail, as the name suggests, is exactly what it sounds like, the tail of an ox. And while it might not sound like the most appetizing cut of meat, trust me on this one. Back in the day, when times were tough and every scrap of food was precious, oxtail was a common sight in prison kitchens. It was inexpensive, readily available, and could be stretched to feed a crowd. But here's the kicker. Oxtail is packed with flavor. We're talking rich, gelatinous goodness that, when cooked low and slow, transforms into a culinary masterpiece. So get ready to explore the fascinating journey of oxtail from its humble beginnings as a prison staple to its rise to gourmet glory. It's a tale of culinary ingenuity, unexpected flavors, and the enduring power of a good hearty meal. All right, folks, buckle up because this one is interesting. We're talking head cheese. No, it's not some fancy cheese plate you'd find at a wine tasting. Picture this. You're in a dimly lit prison kitchen, the air thick with the smell of, well, you don't want to know. Head cheese, my friends, is exactly what it sounds like. It's made from the head of a pig. Ears, snout, the whole shebang. All boiled down, jellied up and served cold. Not exactly appetizing, right? Back in the day, when throwing away any part of an animal was unheard of, head cheese was a cheap and easy way to feed a lot of people, especially in institutions like, you guessed it, prisons. Now, before you swear off meat jelly forever, hear me out. Like many of the foods on this list, head cheese has made a comeback in recent years. Chefs are getting creative, using high-quality ingredients and adding gourmet twists to elevate this once humble dish. All right, let's talk about a food we all know and hopefully love, the potato. This unassuming tuber has been a staple in diets around the world for centuries, and for good reason. Ubiquitous, versatile, the perfect side dish, and a prison staple. Yes, you heard that right. The potato has played a significant role in the history of prison food. I know, it doesn't have the same shock value as head cheese, but trust me, the potato has a story to tell. It's a tale of survival, adaptability, and culinary potential. In prisons, potatoes were cheap, filling, and easy to come by. They could be boiled, mashed, fried, or even turned into a makeshift stew. Their versatility made them a prison kitchen's best friend. Baked, you name it, they could handle it. Potatoes were the unsung heroes of many a prison meal, providing much-needed sustenance. But let's be real, prison food isn't exactly known for its culinary creativity. We're talking bland, overcooked, and probably served on a metal tray. We're talking bland, overcooked, and probably served on a metal tray. Yet, even in such conditions, the potato managed to shine in its own humble way. But here's the thing about potatoes. They're a blank canvas. They have the potential to be transformed into something extraordinary with just a bit of creativity, and in the hands of a skilled chef, they can be transformed into something truly extraordinary. From simple beginnings to gourmet delights, the potato's journey is remarkable. Think about it, crispy patatas bravas drizzled with aioli, a dish that elevates the humble spud to new heights. Creamy gratin dauphinoise layered with thinly sliced potatoes and rich cream, a true testament to the potato's versatility. Fluffy gnocchi bathed in a sage butter sauce. The possibilities are endless. Each dish showcases the potato's ability to adapt and impress. Chefs around the world have embraced the humble potato, turning it into a culinary star. From street food to fine dining, the potato has found its place, elevating it from a simple side dish to a culinary star. The potato's journey from prison staple to gourmet delight is nothing short of inspiring. And let's not forget about the humble French fry, a global favorite that, when done right, is a thing of beauty. Crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside, the perfect fry is a testament to the potato's potential. So the next time you're enjoying a delicious potato dish, remember its humble beginnings. From prison plates to gourmet tables, the potato has come a long way. This versatile vegetable has come a long way from prison plates, proving that even the simplest of ingredients can be transformed into culinary masterpieces. The humble potato, once a prison staple, now reigns supreme in kitchens around the world. From lobster to head cheese, we've journeyed through the fascinating and sometimes stomach-churning history of prison food turned gourmet. It's amazing how food trends change, how yesterday's gruel can become today's delicacy. So which of these would you try or avoid like prison food? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more weird food history.